Hello, and welcome to the first ever episode of Lunch and Learn at the Lead. I'm Ryan Savage, an intern with the Lead Center's Education Department, and I'm joined today by my co-host and fellow intern, Brenna Zolman. Hi, Brenna.
Hi, Ryan.
So, as we all know, the coronavirus pandemic has dramatically impacted every single part of our lives, including our day-to-day operations here at the Lead. We shut down everything in person in early March, and now we're in a holding pattern as we work with the university and local health officials to figure out when it's safe to go back to watching shows in person. Any predictions, Brenna?
Honestly, I think it's anybody's guessing game as to when this will all be over, but we are very excited to share that the Lead Center is planning to announce a full 2020-2021 season in the coming weeks, and we are planning on having in-person shows in the fall. Things will definitely look a little bit different in the theater, but we'll be working with the health department to make sure everyone is safe. But we can all look forward to getting back into the Lead Center really soon.
Yes, I know I am most excited. So for anyone who doesn't know, in the Lead Center's admin office, we have a little table that has snacks in it. And I'm very excited to go back to grabbing a cookie every time I pass that table. But regardless of whenever we get the thumbs up from the local health department, it's clear that we are all adapting to our new normal. The Lead Center and the arts industry as a whole have leapt online, literally, in a dash to transition to presenting and creating content for our audiences remotely. Do you want to touch on that, Brenna?
Yeah, sure. It's definitely been a whirlwind the past couple of months, but I know our education team and the other departments here at the Lead have enjoyed thinking outside of the box to develop new online content specifically for our patrons.
Yeah, and I think I can say for the both of us that this video podcast is essentially our baby within all the digital content we're putting out. It's definitely something that we've been anticipating releasing for a while now.
Definitely. I have spent many a long night video editing, getting this ready.
I can say from experience that Brenna has been up late. So do you want to give folks a rundown on how Lunch and Learns will work?
Yeah, absolutely. So basically, with the exception of today's episode, we'll release a new episode of Lunch and Learn every other Tuesday at 12 p.m. sharp during all of your lunch breaks, beginning on June 30th. Each episode, we are going to focus on a specific topic related to the art scene in Lincoln and the greater performing arts industry.
And this week, we are looking at how the Lead Center Triple Threat Broadway Intensive stuck it out when everything else was canceled and became one of the first summer camps regionally to transition online. We actually have several annual summer arts camps for students here at the Lead, and the Triple Threat Broadway Intensive, which is my favorite, is a week-long musical theater intensive for high schoolers where they work alongside award-winning Broadway professionals to refine their craft. And I think we have a short clip for you that explains exactly what the Triple Threat Intensive is all about.
Here we go. 1, 2, 3.
Triple Threat Broadway!
This is the Lead Center's Triple Threat Broadway Intensive. It is a musical theater week-long workshop for high school age kids who are crazy about musical theater.
Time being a friend.
What I love about the Triple Threat Workshop is that it incorporates all the tools in your kit that you're going to need to use when you get to New York, when you get to LA or on a film set or a Broadway stage. You're singing, you're acting, you're dancing, all those ways of telling story are really being workshopped here, and I love watching the joy on the young people's faces while we're doing it.
It's awesome that the Lead Center does this because not a lot of kids are given this opportunity to be able to come to a place like the Lead Center and work with such amazing people. Like, this isn't a thing that all kids get to do, and it's really important and special.
Where is my shoe?
I think it's really beneficial for young actors to understand that it's about the process, it's not about the product. So if you can understand the fundamentals of how to break down a scene, then you will be far better off. So that's really my focus of my class.
We can't do what we're told, we can't go where we're led. Broadway is something that I absolutely have my sights on. Like, the fact that I get to talk with people who have just gone through that journey, it's just a really helpful experience to talk with people who know what's going on.
How we're going to start is we're going to step onto the right leg, right. These 3 days, you get a crash course on a real Broadway rehearsal process. And it's been really fun watching them be uncomfortable, but still going all in. And to see the growth in just 3 days is awesome.
I was here for the Matilda Masterclass, which was amazing. I was at the Undergroove with the UNL Hip Hop Club here in Lincoln. It was amazing. I'm here at the Broadway Triple Threat Intensive. The Lead Center has impacted my life just by giving me opportunity after opportunity to learn and grow.
I'm not living without you.
In my masterclass, what I encourage the young people to do is bring songs that they love and perform them for the class. And I give people notes, technical notes, different tricks and things, ways that you can accomplish things that might be a challenge, and just basically encourage them to continue to keep studying their craft, just like people encouraged me.
I love watching them figure out their process and helping them learn what their process is and what works for them. And that light bulb moment when they go, oh yes, I got it.
I wish when I was in high school that I could have attended a program like the one here at the Lead Center.
I know we have stars in this group. We've been blown away numerous times by the students that we've seen in our intensive. So we expect to see people winning Tonys here.
You do it all for love, for love, for love. You do it all for love, for love, for love. You do it all for love, for love, for love. You do it all for love, for love, for love. You do it all for love, for love, for love. 'Cause everything you do for love. For love.
Oh my gosh, it's something like watching all those scenes of everyone together. Like I was just like, my heart was just so warmed right now. I was thinking about that last song, Love Cost, that was playing at the very end with all the with everyone hugging each other and everything. Made me emo. But Azrea Cole was the soloist for that song, and she's 18 years old, or at least she was 18 at the time of the intensive, and her voice is just so incredible, and that piece is just so impactful, and it just reminds me the intensive last year was one of the best parts of my summer, and I am looking forward to it being one of the best parts of my summer this year. But yeah, that entire project is truly a labor of love for us at the Lead Center.
Absolutely. It's just those moments like that, like you said, the last song, Love Cost, just like lightning in a bottle moment, she started singing and I remember sitting in the audience and just like instant goosebumps.
Yeah, chills. Like everyone like got really quiet and they're like, oh my gosh, who's this girl? But it's amazing. She's gonna go places. Alrighty, we have a couple interviews lined up with some seasoned Broadway artists and triple threat faculty who are going to give us an in-depth look at how our industry works from home. Our first guest today is Jason Michael Webb, who you all just saw in the video from last year, and I'm so excited for you guys to meet him. Jason is absolutely incredible. He recently won his first Tony Award for his work on Choir Boy on Broadway, so snaps for that. And let me tell you, Brenna, it's definitely not going to be his last one.
Oh my God, I completely agree. Jason is an amazing person to work with. I am so glad that we started working with him on the intensive last year, and I'm even happier that he's returning to teach virtually at this year's intensive. I mean, he has a laundry list of achievements. His work on the 2015 revival of Color Purple, Choir Boy, The Greatest Showman movie, and the upcoming Michael Jackson, the musical, and the Aretha Franklin film Respect. We've definitely been lucky to get to know him the past 3 years.
Yeah, I was thinking about when we did the interview with him, I was thinking about the first time that I met him. which was actually during my sophomore year of college at ASCAP, which, if you don't know, ASCAP is a biennial musical theater development festival that we host here at the Lead Center. And he led a masterclass that I performed at. And like, I was super nervous because, yeah, I mean, he worked with Cynthia Erivo through The Color Purple. He's best friends with Stephen Bray. Like, he knows his stuff. So, you know, I was really excited. So I wanted to pick a really good song, you know, to wow him and everything. And so emotional 19-year-old me picked Lost in the Waves by Kumin and Diamond. And if you don't know that song, it's like a sad male power ballad. But I remember I was like super pleased with myself because there was a ton of applause and I felt like, you know, I didn't miss any notes. And I had that feeling you only really get when you nail a song. And Jason stood up and he walked down to the middle of the stage, looked at me, and the first thing he says is, you know, you can't sing this song, right? And I was like, and this is like in front of everybody. The room was full. It was the Carson Theater, and like my heart dropped. I was like, here's this man who I have been looking forward to performing for, and he told me that I couldn't sing this song that I'd been working on for years, literally since high school. So I mean, then he pointed out this lyric in the first stanza that is, I choked back the tears for 22 years. And he lovingly reminded me that I'm not 30 years old. So, you know, age-appropriate rep. Everyone, if you are a young artist out there auditioning, make sure you have age-appropriate rep. But it was definitely a great learning experience for me. And truly, in addition to being one of the most talented people that I've ever worked with, he's also one of the nicest. I mean, the guy can talk to pretty much anyone about anything.
I definitely agree with that. I remember the first time I met Jason was on the first day of our 2019 intensive, and he had just flown out that morning from New York after accepting his Tony Award for like music direction and arrangements for Choir Boy the night before. And I remember he like just gave me this big old hug. Like I went in for a handshake and he's like, no, give me a hug. And I was kind of like, you won a Tony last night. Why are you hugging some random intern? But I still remember the campers' shocked faces when our camp director announced that Jason had won a Tony the night before and had also worked on The Greatest Showman. I don't think I've ever seen theater kids that excited, and that's saying something.
I know, right? We're hard to please, but Jason always has something to wow me with every time I talk to him, and that was no exception when I sat down with him to talk about his career, his teaching experiences, and how he's continued to create art in the face of a pandemic. Hi, Jason. How are you doing?
Good. How you doing, Ryan? Good
doing pretty well. Yeah, it's nice to see you too. We're really excited to have you for the intensive in a couple weeks.
Well, I'm excited to do it. Let's do it.
Woo! So what projects have you been working on since the pandemic placed our industry on pause, and how have you adjusted to working from home?
When we went on pause, we had just wrapped principal photography on the Respect film. And so one of the great things that's come out of this is that it's kind of forced, it's forced us all to stay home, but it's also enabled us to realize what kind of work we can get done from home, and post-production on the film was like so perfect for that. So as we kind of shuttle the visuals back and forth, Stephen Bray, who I'm working on the film with producing the music, we're able to get our work done right at home, dressed how we want to on our own schedules and all that. So those are like all the great adjustments that have come out of the quarantine. I mean, just figuring out ways to get things done remotely, like we're doing right now with this virtual version of the same intensive that we did last year.
Alrighty. So what experiences in your life have been instrumental in guiding your career as an artist, and what led you to pursue this work in the first place?
Oh, wow. Well, I observe a lot. I'll say that. I love to observe. And there are people who I've just always loved and respected their work. And so those are the people who I think I've tended to observe when it comes to my career. One of the people that really was instrumental, and she doesn't even know it, I'm sure, but just kind of respecting her work and wanting to know more kind of how she got there, Janine Tesori.
Wow.
the composer. I was trying, you know, she's kind of a friend where I play for a choir, and she's got a connection to the choir. We have mutual friends. And so I really tried to pay special attention to how she got to the place that she was at. And I understood that she made a decision at certain points of her life to say, it's time for me to move to the next level. It's time for me to be, you know, for my skill set to be utilized in a new way. And so I think she was music directing on Broadway and decided that she was going to be a composer and had to say no to, you know, a bunch of conductor work in order to accomplish being a composer. And that's what I began to do. I learned generosity from people like Stephen Bray and Joseph Joubert, who are both just incredible talents, but are able to, you know, still give and give and give. So we're learning by that example. Those are like the influences that I think have really driven me career-wise. Also, just like my experience that I've had working in the church for so long and associating music with emotion and the power that music has in order to change people's lives and to teach and to deliver messages that they wouldn't otherwise get. So I realized the responsibility in that from working in the church. So all those things kind of come together to help, you know, I don't even want to say I'm crafting a career. I'm kind of like following what I feel like what my purpose is.
Are there any new projects on the horizon for you?
Just, you know, they were rioting in downtown LA. I don't know if you heard, but it was happening literally right downstairs. And so I had been, this is such a great example, I think, I hope, of what our responsibility is as artists. I've wanted to record EPs and put out material for a while, and I've been so blessed to be able to do a lot of work for other folks, but I've always, you know, had in the back of my mind, I want to make sure that I'm creating for myself and putting out for myself. And so when the rioting started, I was at my piano and, like, you know, again, we're by a police station, so there's helicopters and everything is very, very present. And I started thinking of the song, What a Wonderful World.
Yeah.
And how that juxtaposition, like, you know, they're rioting down, they're destroying the world downstairs, and there's this kind of, you know, heart, very genuine, like I've sincerely, you know, felt that. And so what I ended up doing was recording 2 EPs across 2 nights with just the windows open. It's like putting 2 414s on the piano and opening the windows with a voice recorder on the windowsill and capturing, you know, the craziness below juxtaposed against this beautiful piano music. And that became part of what my contribution was to what's going on right now. I'm going to do more EPs because now I'm in that, you know, it's almost like the gym. For me, it's like the gym. It's like, I need like a good 2 weeks of being forced to go to the gym, and then I'm good. And then I'm
then you'll run.
Now that I've got these 2 EPs, now I'm like, boom, now I can do it. So I'm going to do more material like that. Also, like Aida is still continuing, so there's still pre-pro on that. Michael Jackson, I'm going to music direct that show when it comes to Broadway and do some arranging and orchestrating on that. So there's all that pre-production and preparation. My partner and I are writing another musical named Wildflower that when we presented at the Apollo Theater in New York last year, and so we're continuing to develop that with the National Black Theater. And yeah, stuff like that. Oh, they're also turning The Greatest Showman into a stage production. So I'm working on that as well.
That's super exciting. I think our audiences will really enjoy that.
Oh, good. I'm really looking forward to, you know, we didn't get a full workshop out because the quarantine cut it short. Yeah. But what we did get done was very special. So I'm looking forward to everybody seeing that.
So switching gears a little bit to the intensive, what is your favorite part about working with young artists?
Oh, I mean, what I love about just people who are younger in general, and I miss this even about myself, is the willingness.
You're not that old. You're not that old.
I feel like I've been around a long time, but just like kind of the openness and willingness to just come play. Like if you, we're not talking about children right now in the intensive, but I'm going to talk about children for a second. You know, when a child comes into the room, they're just open and ready to absorb and receive and react and play. And it's that type of childlike excitement that I feel like, you know, we all need to carry all the way through. And as we learn things about the world and about ourselves and all that stuff, it starts to influence what that excitement is. But what working with young artists does for me is remind me of the excitement that, you know, I always had and still have, but manifests in different ways. And it helps me, you know, I love being able to share just as people share things with me, but I also like getting that rejuvenating, like, let's do it, that young people have.
That's awesome. So what is your advice for our intensive kiddos that are either launching or still building their career? I guess this can even apply to young actors in like New York or LA in this current climate, you know, with the pandemic putting everything on pause.
Yeah, well, one of the things that I think the pandemic has allowed us to do is, again, be still and kind of do this with the focus and figure out what our contributions actually are. Because when you become an actor in a company or you get in a film or something, you're making a contribution, you're making a creative contribution. So if we're all isolated, you know, we don't stop being artists. That's one piece of advice that I would give to everyone. If you have the opportunity and the time to create as much as possible, because you might find that you have a voice that we all need, because we each have a different voice. Also, this isn't necessarily specific to what we need to do in a pandemic while we're isolated, but another great piece of advice is, I think, keep building relationships. Don't underestimate the power of relationship. And that's coming from someone who, you know, I played by a different rule when I was coming up. I went specifically for, you know, being perfect and being awesome at what you do and letting, you know, and relying on that. And I happened to build relationship just along the way, but I never put a focus on it. And I always wondered, what would have happened had I put a focus on that? And so I would encourage young people to just realize the value in relationships with other people. And the world is small, so you got to be nice to everybody and all that good stuff. Don't underestimate that. So
yeah,
I'm looking forward to seeing you guys. I cannot wait.
Thank you so much, Jason. We're really looking forward to seeing you too. Alrighty. We'll see you in a couple weeks.
Right, see ya.
Bye. Man, I was just looking at my hair, my new haircut. I was like, okay. But yeah, I am so excited about The Greatest Showman becoming a stage musical. Like, that is such good news. The problem is, like, if I audition for that show, the character I'd want to be is the woman who sings "This Is Me." So I like have to like improve my range, because I think she has a couple notes that I do not have.
You know, I'm a recovering theater kid myself, so I definitely couldn't audition, but man, I wish I had the money to produce that. Can you imagine how much money that is gonna make? The movie already was like made an insane amount of money. Like, please, if you want to take pity on a poor college graduate and let me produce that show, Jason, please connect me with your people.
Alrighty, folks. We're going to keep the ball rolling on the intensive today with our next guest, Allison Macri, who is a New York-based actor and returning teaching artist for the camp.
Yes, and if you've seen the Jason Robert Brown movie musical the last 5 years, a personal favorite of mine, she's played alongside Jeremy Jordan and Anna Kendrick as Carol Ann. She was also last seen on stage at the Lead Center in the national tour of the Sound of Music as Sister Margareta in 2018, which was the first time that we actually met Allison. When the tour stopped in Lincoln, she taught a masterclass for performance majors, and she was so incredible that we invited her to teach at the Triple Threat Intensive last summer. After a successful first year of teaching about acting, monologues, working with a scene partner, Allison is returning as a teaching artist to focus on performance, vocal pedagogy, and audition technique.
Yeah, I touched base with her to see how the pandemic has impacted actors and what working from home really looks like for us. Because I know that's definitely been a question on a lot of people's minds, like, if live theater requires live audiences, how do actors even approach working from home? I am also wondering the same thing, but I can tell you from experience that a big part of working remotely for actors is self-taping. Some of that is self-taping a video audition to submit to casting directors. There's different platforms that you can submit online. But what the industry is really pushing us all to do is to create our own work, video it in a technologically attractive and savvy way. So you have to be a videographer in addition to being an actor, and figure out how to break through the noise on social media with some impactful content. So I spoke with Allison to get some insight into how actors are making that jump to virtual content during the pandemic.
Things have absolutely changed, but I think at a time where there is so much uncertainty, I think it's really important for me to focus on the positive. And so right now I love getting time to spend with my dog. I love training her. She's currently 9 months old. She's a golden retriever. I love spending time with my husband. He fortunately was still working and was able to work at home. So I found myself to be a rather gourmet chef. For 2 out of the 3 meals a day, I grew myself an herb garden. I was able to use in my culinary pursuits. It's been wonderful. It's been great. I think it's definitely trying, but if I'm choosing to look at the positive, there they are. So for me, virtual teaching, I segued to virtual teaching when I was on tour with The Sound of Music. And so my students have maintained either that format or in person or a combination of both. So for my students and myself, it hasn't been an adjustment. In fact, one of my students even said to me that this was the only normal part of her life and her routine when the pandemic started. So that actually felt really good to maintain that consistency with my students. Well, I think at this moment in time, there's no in-person lessons. So the benefit is that it's there, as opposed to not. And I think that as we start to enter some summer programming, you can't do sports online. Kids are sick of looking at their screens. So the beautiful thing about the arts is that all the kids who are a part of it want to be here, or in general want to take lessons and want to work on their crafts or their passion. And I think it's really amazing that I can continue to provide that service to people who want it. And so I really think I only see positives at this moment in time. Oh, yes, I think I have it right here. Come.
Oh.
Come up.
Is that a carrot?
Up. It's a carrot. Come here. Come here. Come here.
Oh.
So, to answer your question, sometimes I have someone that likes to be a part of the training or the video. This is Millie. She's the best.
Hi, Millie.
And I think she's so okay just hanging out on my lap. Ooh, but she's not a lap dog. So in addition, I think actors have always been urged to have a social media presence. That being said, I think we all need to level up right now because this is the only way to audition. So in order to stick out, I know a lot of people have certain lighting and recording equipment, and you have to get a good reader. I've helped my friends out by FaceTiming them and being their reader while they're self-taping. So it's become the new wave, and I think technology is something that might be a learning curve for people, but it's definitely a factor now, whereas before it wasn't. I think there's a lot of hope for the future. And I think that right now is a really great time to work on training and studying and working on all of those things so that when things start back up, when the industry starts back up, you're ready to go. it's important to know that it's not that the field is going on and you're stuck in isolation. The whole thing is shut down. I am so excited to see all of you guys again and be back at the Lead Center. I think it's going to be a great week.
Man, I really like as a actor, as someone who just graduated from college, who was looking forward to moving to New York and everything. That last line that Allison had, it's important to know that it's not the field. That's not that the field is going on and you're stuck in isolation. The whole thing is shut down. Like, that's just super inspiring for me to hear as a young actor, because I know I was really excited to make the move to New York after graduation and do what I've always wanted to do. But I think for all of us, the pandemic has just really put a lot of things in perspective. Value the importance of your family, the importance of the people around you, and just the little things in life. I remember one of the first things I did once I got home is I got a plant. I don't know, just it's those little things. I actually named it. Here, I'll show you.
Oh my God.
Corona the cactus. but like, it's those little things I think that really are making this time special. So if you have the ability to appreciate slowing down, I would encourage you all to do so.
I agree with you, Ryan. What Allison said about everything being shut down as well, that also really spoke to me. Like I said, I'm not a performer anymore, but I want to live, like, I want to work in performing arts for the rest of my life. I want to be an arts administrator for the rest of my life. And I also just graduated in May, and it's kind of one of those things where it's like, okay, cool, I'm ready to start my career. But, my first thought was like, great, live performance is going to be the last industry to recover from this. And, I'm ready to start my career and I can't do what I want. But working at the Lead Center has really, really opened my eyes as to how we can still be productive and move forward no matter what, and still provide light and love and art. And so, I don't know, I'm actually optimistic. And so I think I definitely liked what Allison said there.
Yeah, me too. Also, I've never seen a dog eat a carrot before, but that was adorable. I was literally, if you couldn't hear me, I was freaking out during the interview, so I'm still freaking out now. I was like, what? Dogs eat vegetables?
Yes, the random voice from the sky was Ryan.
But yeah. Well, folks, at the end of every Lunch and Learn episode, Brenna and I, as your local arts connoisseurs, which is kind of a stretch, but we'll go with it. We'll close with a short segment of what we're watching this week, so you can tune in on some of the best content the industry has to offer. And this week, I'm begging you all to go to Amazon Prime Video or YouTube and watch The King of Staten Island on demand. It just came out last Friday. It stars Pete Davidson, who's like the best SNL host in my opinion, and my king, in a fictionalized autobiography of what it was like growing up after he lost his dad. And for those of you who don't know, Pete Davidson's dad was a firefighter, and he actually passed away on 9/11. So he wrote this film and just wanted to communicate to the world and to people living on Staten Island in New York, like what it's like to grow up in that world, and what it's like to grow up, without your dad, and if losing somebody to something that is felt by everyone. So I thought it was just an amazing film. It's definitely a tearjerker, but hands down, it's probably going to be one of the best films this year, especially considering so many movies have delayed their release dates because of the pandemic. So I guess its only true competition is Trolls World Tour, which is also a very good film, in my opinion. How about you, Brenna? What are you watching?
Well, I'm actually looking forward to, as per his interview, Jason Michael Webb's Lead Live next Friday, June 26th at 7:30 p.m. If any of you are interested in hearing from the man who shaped the sounds behind The Color Purple or The Greatest Showman, tune into the Lead Center's Facebook page next Friday to hear some of the incredible original work he has up his sleeve. But I just wanted to say thank you again to everyone for joining us on this special live spotlight on the Triple Threat Broadway Intensive and the industry's shift to virtual content. We are super excited to provide this opportunity to the state's brightest young voices and assist them in developing their talents in any capacity. And we know that the performing arts have endured throughout history and will continue to provide a creative outlet for everyone during this unique time.
And if you would like to help these opportunities for Nebraska's young artists continue, we encourage you to donate to the Lead Center's COVID-19 Relief Fund to ensure that the arts remain an essential part of the Lincoln community. You can find the donation link on our website, www.leadcenter.org.
And we'll be back on Tuesday, June 30th at noon, so join us for the official launch of Lead Learning Online and this video podcast series, Lunch and Learn. The show will be hosted by yours truly and also Ryan. Ryan will also be there, I guess.
They might fire me after today.
You're out. And we'll touch on a broad range of topics regarding the arts scene here in Lincoln and the arts industry as a whole. On June 30th, we'll be discussing all things Hamilton ahead of the much anticipated release of the Broadway production on Disney+.
Yes, I'm so excited for that. We have some great guests lined up.
Me too, Ryan, honestly. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Yes, and a special thanks to Stephen Colonna in the control room, Liv LeBlanc, Matthew Boring, and Lauren Durbin in marketing, and Sasha Dobson and Jane Schiermeyer Hansen in our very special office, the education department. This series would not be possible without their support. And right after Brenna and I sign off, we have some special guests from the Lincoln community to share with you. So stay tuned to the live stream and mark your calendars. We'll see you in a couple weeks on June 30th. Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Hello everybody, my name is Susan Tweehouse.
Hi, my name is Josie Dobson.
Hello everyone, my name is Jacob Vanderford.
Hi, my name is Elise Anderson, and this will be my second year at the Lead Center Triple Threat Broadway Intensive. This year, I'm so excited to be able to see my friends that I made last year and to see the incredible instructors, whether new or returning, and just get to learn so much. I am so incredibly grateful that this was moved online because this was the best thing that could have happened last summer, and I was so looking forward to it this summer, and I'm just so incredibly grateful that I'll still get to learn and grow as an artist and as an actress, and I think it's going to be an amazing time. So thank you!
I am most excited for getting to learn from the best of the best and soaking up all the knowledge that I can. And I think that having the intensive online will be just as rewarding as having it in person because we get more time with the instructors and more knowledge.
This is my second year being involved in the Lead Center Broadway Triple Threat Intensive. I'm so excited that we get to have this experience again this summer. With a lot of the community theaters being closed down, we might not have had that performing arts aspect that we all love. We all love singing, dancing, and acting, and we get to have that with our master classes with Jason Michael Webb and Allison Macri and Colin O'Shea Creel and also Sam Hartley. So we're really excited about that. And with it being virtual, we get to follow those social distance guidelines and keep everybody safe and healthy, which is what we all hope and desire to do. Last year, I really had a lot of fun learning about the business, about college auditions, and that really helped me a lot last year as I auditioned for the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. And I'm going to be majoring in sports media and theater performance and musical theater minoring. So I'm really excited again to learn a lot this year, take everything in, have a lot of fun, and we'll see you there.
I'm one of the counselors for the Lead Center's Triple Threat Broadway Intensive. I am most excited to see these students learn from our professional artists, whether it be from auditioning to just real life advice. The amount of knowledge that our professional artists can give our students is one of my favorite parts of our program. Also, I'm so excited that we're able to continue over Zoom. Who'd have thought that we would have done that? But we're doing it. It's going to be a great time, and we can't wait to see you there. See ya!